Well, former U.S. President Barack Obama also hit the campaign trail for Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris, warning voters in the key swing states that Donald Trump cannot be allowed back into the office. Obama appeared alongside Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, in Wisconsin's state capital, Madison. Walz and Obama took aim at former President Trump's age and recent behavior, with Walz saying Trump doesn't have the stamina to be president, and Obama mocking Trump's marketing of branded watches and Bibles.
So, look, my point is, you'd be worried if Grandpa was acting like this. Right? You'd call up your brother, you'd call up your cousins, you say, have you noticed? But this is coming from somebody who wants unchecked power. So, Wisconsin, we do not need to see what an older, loonier Donald Trump looks like with no guardrails. America's ready to turn the page. We are ready for a better story, Wisconsin. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
You know what you noticed? It takes stamina to run for president. It takes stamina to be president. And Donald Trump does not have stamina. He has been rambling more than the normal rambling. He calls it the weave. Donald, come on. We know there's only one weave that you know anything about, and it is not this. It is not this. He's ducked debates, but you can't blame him. When you get your ass whipped that hard, you don't come back for seconds.
And now we have Shobhendu joining us from New York and Amrit Pal joining us from Texas on this. Well, good morning to both of you. Shobhendu, candidates bringing in big names at various rallies in Atlanta and Philadelphia in the coming days. Trump is also campaigning. His campaign is focusing on immigration and border security in the final stretch. How is the campaigning going on there?
Well, the campaigning is hitting its peaks, Lipakshi, if I were to use that phrase. Both the candidates are using all the firepower that is there at their disposal for these last couple of weeks of campaigning before the big day, November 5th, election day. As you mentioned, Kamala Harris will be supported by rock star Bruce Springsteen in Philadelphia, as well as in Georgia, where he'll be campaigning for Kamala Harris, while Barack Obama will also be putting in his weight around, and he would also be addressing the public rallies there. Elon Musk, on the other side, we see has made his presence increasingly prominent in Donald Trump's camp and campaigning. Remember, a few days ago, he announced that $1 million award for all registered voter supporter of the Republican Party in the swing states, and that's where the contest really is. The 7 swing states, and both the candidates don't want their supporters to be left behind. Getting them to the voting booth seems to be the priority now. The campaign, when we vote, we win, is part of the Democratic agenda to make sure that all their supporters and more are taken to the voting booth on the election day or in the early voting that is on. Lipakshi?
Right. My second question to you, Amrit, if we talk about the poll survey, a new poll survey predicts Harris to hold about 3% lead over Trump in the November 5th elections. With early voting underway, if the Harris-Walz campaign announced on Tuesday that their When We Vote, We Win event aims to mobilize the voters in all the 7 key battleground states, including Georgia and Pennsylvania. Could you tell us more on that?
That's right. The idea is to, as Shobhendu was also saying, to mobilize voters because the contest is too close. If the Reuters survey, which is the latest survey, which gives Kamala a 3 percentage point lead over Donald Trump, 45 for the Democrats, 42 for the Republicans, though it's just one survey. There are other surveys which give her a lead of about 1.8%. She has an overall lead, but it is too close to call, because if you factor in the error of margin, then it makes it could go either way. But a 3 percentage point lead over Donald Trump surely is a shot in the arm for her, because that could really tip the election, and that could tip the balance. Now, but it is really a neck and neck fight. It is really a tight race, as Shubhendu and you rightly said, in the battleground states, because they will decide practically who the next president of the United States of America would be, and that's why you see hectic campaigning by both candidates and their supporters. Former presidents Barack Obama, along with Walz or Joe Biden, campaigning for Kamala. Donald Trump's supporters, including Elon Musk, giving sops to the voters. So they are offering all they can, trading barbs, calling each other threats to democracy, using all kinds of languages, suggestive phrases like lock him up and lock him out politically, etc. Remember, this phrase was first used against Hillary when in 2016 by Trump supporters, and Trump would silently encourage them to do that. So it is the Democrats giving it back to Donald Trump, his own medicine. So therefore it shows you how close the contest really is.
Right. Shubhendu, if I may ask you, as Amrit was also saying, early voting has already kicked off in battleground Wisconsin with a push from Obama and Walz. How do you see this? What's the scene at the swing states?
That's right, Lipakshi. As we speak, millions of voters across America have already cast their ballot, have chosen who their candidate is. The rule says that about 45 days before the election day, states can choose as per their convenience, and they can organize early voting. Traditionally, there is a certain edge that the Democrats get in the early voting. The Republican narrative has been, again, historically that there are a lot of malpractices that come into being in early voting, and therefore most of the Republican supporters prefer to cast their ballot on the election day, which is 5th of November. So a certain edge that is being seen for Kamala Harris in the early voting is expected to be balanced out as far as the main election day is concerned. So it is a very, very close contest, Lipakshi, and therefore we also see, going back to the point of really encouraging every single voter, supporter to come out and vote. Extensive efforts are being made. Celebrities are being used. Public figures are being used to motivate voters. Social media is being used extensively. We learnt about a certain app called Reach app, which helps you reach the remotest voter in a particular electorate to ensure that you pass your message to them very clearly. So in that sense, no stone unturned to make sure that the candidates get an edge first in the early voting and then on the big day, on Tuesday.
All right. Amrit,
5th of November.
All right. Amrit, if you could tell us, as the Super Tuesday draws to the close and the race remains particularly very, very close, could you tell our viewers why a Tuesday? There's a story behind it.
Oh, I'll tell you the story behind the Super Tuesday, but first let me tell you something about early voting, to which Shubhendu referred to. That's very interesting. Early voting is, as Shubhendu was saying, either in person or mail-in votes. You can cast your votes. Most states allow that. Some ask for, or actually all states allow that. Only some ask for reasons why you want to vote in early. And Democrats traditionally had an edge over that because generally city voters would vote, and that's where the Democratic vote is mostly concentrated on because they were out for work or they were vacationing or they were traveling, etc. And Donald Trump has called for, has put into question the whole early voting system, saying that it's fixed. but interestingly, the Republicans themselves, now I'm talking about the voters, want early voting. So that's very interesting. And the other interesting thing is that though early voting takes place before the November 5th or the Super Tuesday election, the early votes are counted last, and that sometimes makes a difference. And whoever and this time around there's record early voting. There's a lot of interest in early voting because of the mobilization that has been done by both parties. So these are some interesting facts about okay, Super Tuesday, the first Tuesday of November is when they vote, and that's when the presidential elections take place. Lipakshi.
Right. Thank you so much, Amrit and Shubhendu, for all those details from there.